Great day, world. Hopefully, everybody's doing great or getting better. First of all, I got to say thanks for being patient because I want to be consistent doing this, and I had to travel. And with traveling, I got a little sick moving around, so been kind of hit and miss. Since I've healed up and been back at it. So thank you for being patient. I want to welcome you back to the Corey Webster Experience. I am C-Web, Corey Webster. I'll be your host. And we're going to talk about everything here. But we're going to talk about sports. And today, we're going to talk about NBA, the second half of the season. Got to go over what happened with the NBA All-Star Weekend. And, your predictions and things that you hope for or wish for, maybe your team, or maybe just as an avid fan, what's going to happen in the second half of the season. So let's dive into it. Like we always say, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to get in the comments and leave your opinions and your thoughts as well. This is an open dialogue. Let's talk about it. So we try to pull the curtain back a little bit so you can see behind the scenes of what goes on and maybe some of the thought process of some of your favorite players or favorite teams. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, NBA All-Star Weekend has been a little hit and miss there. What I mean by that, it's been down. People haven't been tuning in, and it wasn't anything different 2025. People did not tune in like previously in the past. And I think the highest viewership they had was in 2017 with about 7.8 million people looking in. And this year we had a whole lot going on. We had a whole different format. The format they did this year, we'll talk about it and go over it, but it was unlike anything that they have ever did before. In the past, they did, kind of one captain versus two captain. They had like a draft of the people that was representing the Eastern and the Western Conference in the All-Star game. This year, they kind of had something different, and some players had some good things to say about it. Some had some, displeasing things to say about it. And Draymond Green being one of those players. So we're going to dive into it all. So, and y'all talk about, what y'all like. Did you tune in? Did you tune in to, see your favorite player or, your favorite player represent your favorite team? What did you do? For me, I watched a little bit of it because I wanted to see the format. It was a new format. You had Chuck, Kenny, Barkley, and Candace Parker representing being a leader of certain teams. You had, what was the four teams' name? I forgot. It was the Uprisers. That was Candace Parker team. You had Shaq had the Legends. That's who actually won the All-Star game. Let me dive in and tell you about the format of it.
Chuck had the global stars.
Yeah. I got you. Candace Parker had the Rising Stars, which, consisted of the winners from the Rising Star Challenges. That's who Candace Parker managed. Chuck had the Legends, which had, the LeBron James, the Steph Curry, the Kyrie Irvings. They actually won the game. Charles Barkley had the international players, showcasing all the global talent around the world. They had Joker. They had almost the two MVP candidates. We don't know what's going to happen here, but they had Joker. They had SGA. And then Kenny had the Young Stars, which is the emerging talent of the NBA. So a little different format. The format was 3 games, 2 semifinal games, and then the championship game. I will say this. They were competitive because nobody wanted to lose to Candace Parker's Rising Stars. I saw the sense of urgency in that game. But also, I think just the format in itself, after every game, I think they had, and respectfully, because, you want to get the fans involved and you want to get the people that's traveling from all over the world to be involved. But I think it slowed the game down just a little bit. So in between the games, you had a lot of challenges. You had some, fan challenges and things of that nature. And I think that just got the players kind of, that was already warmed up and was, competing. I think that got them out of it just a little bit. And you had that in between every game. And I think that just, didn't allow the players to keep the juices flowing, the blood going. It kind of, got off to a very competitive state. And then, between those, I guess, challenges, the players, kind of tuned out, zoned out, and you could see some, non-defensive when you came back from those things. So I think it was pretty cool that they are trying to, find ways to get people involved and to get people to tune into the game. But I think it's still some work to be done. I don't know what they can do because also the things that they're competing against. I think SNL had their 50th anniversary the same night, if I'm not mistaken, and they had almost 14.8 million people that, tune in to watch that, right? You had other things going on. You had the NHL I think it was the first time they did the national tournament. And that tournament involved, I want to say, Canada, America, Switzerland.
Sweden and Finland.
Oh, Sweden and Finland, I'm sorry. So you had that going on. So that took some viewers, I would say, from the All-Star game too. And also you had another event going on.
Daytona 500.
Yeah, the Daytona 500. And they had a weather delay. So the Daytona 500 had a weather delay. So I'm just thinking that a lot of that, might have took a few fans away from the NBA All-Star. And I remember, I felt like when certain events was going on, it was only those events. So I guess everybody's kind of competing, for the fans, you know what I mean? So you have to put out a good quality product on the floor or whatever the respective field is that you plan on. You have to put a good quality product out there to get people to be interested and to chime in. So I guess that's good. It's always good to be competitive. And also you have different networks competing for it as well, to be able to, put it on or to be able to broadcast it. So I think that's cool in itself, but the NBA still got some work to do. I think, with them having players from all over the world, I don't know about the time difference or anything like that, but with having players represented, all those different countries, you would think that they would be able to hold the attention and be able to grab a major audience, trying to move forward. They just got to find a way to get the guys to compete. And I know that's hard because it's right in the middle of the season. So nobody wants their star player to go out there and get hurt or injured in the All-Star game. They want them to represent it, but I know even the fans, I don't think they want their team to be jeopardized by their star players representing the All-Star game. So I think that's, having it in the middle of the season, I think that's maybe if they, like baseball, I think maybe if you find out, like, hey, maybe if whoever wins the Western Conference versus the Eastern Conference, maybe you get home court advantage or something like that. I know that's, that goes against the records and things of that nature. The team that came out and played real hard and got winning records, that might work against them. But some kind of way they have to make it competitive, in order to get that viewership up, I think, So a lot of, organizations or a lot of professional leagues are struggling with that. The Pro Bowl, it wasn't a lot of guys being very competitive in the Pro Bowl, so they kind of scaled down to doing 7-on-7 and a whole lot of different activities around football with the skills challenges and things of that nature. So it'd be interesting to see. Baseball, I think it's a little easier, and I don't want to, respectfully, but just a little easier for them to compete, with the baseball game and being able to stay healthy because of, football is a collision sport. Basketball is a contact sport. Baseball, hey, take nothing away. Respect to the guys that, go out there and perform because you can, hurt yourself just walking on the field. But it's not a contact sport. It's not a collision sport. Every once in a while you may have guys that, run into the catch or run into each other or may run into the wall by making a great play or something like that. But it's just not as much contact as, the NHL and hockey and football and basketball. So it'd be interesting to see what the NBA do going forward to try to get some of the viewers, the fans, to tune into the All-Star Weekend. With that being said, the first half of the NBA season is behind us. Are you happy about where your team sits? Are you enjoying the process that your team is going to? Are you one of those fans that's like, upset, mad because your team didn't do what you expected them to do? The expectation was too high and they couldn't live up to those expectations. I know Dallas fans have been very vocal about what has happened in this near future, especially with the trade and stuff like that. A lot of people have moved around, but I don't think no trade was as big as the Luka and Anthony Davis trade between the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. So it was interesting to see fans voice their opinion. They was very displeased with what the ownership or organization did. But, let me know your thoughts, how y'all feel about that. If you're a Mavericks fan, did you think that can you see through the decision that they made and be optimistic that they made some moves in the right direction? Or do you just think they're tanking to do what it is? A lot of people have a lot of different opinions, They talk about them wanting a new place to play. They talk about, the new ownership having, aspirations to have a casino and things of that nature. He talked about, maybe it's a part of moving the team to Vegas and things of that nature. And even, not wanting to invest in Luka because he was, I think, qualified for the max deal at the end of this season. So let me know your thoughts. I think from a Luka standpoint, from a player standpoint, finding out that you're traded, I'm blessed to not have experienced that, but just from seeing individuals, move around and be traded and have to go to different cities, it's not just so, as easy as you think it is, because these players have families, they have roots, they have things that they're connected to in those cities. And, just being uprooted, I know a lot of people say, well, but they're making a lot of money. True indeed, but that still doesn't disconnect the emotional side of it, of a person feeling like they wasn't wanted, or of a person feeling like, man, that's a little disrespectful. I thought I had a relationship with these guys and we was building something special here. And, now me and my family, are kind of ousted, because of, the business side of things. And I know we like to say, well, it's just business. It's the business of the game. But that doesn't negate that people have true feelings. And, I've heard a lot from different guys over the years that, man, that just, it's a overwhelming situation to be in one city playing and to start out that season with goals and aspiration with a group of individuals that you call your brother, that you call your extended family, and to get ripped up out of that and be in a new city with, have to learn new individuals, have to learn a new city, have to get your family settled. It could be very overwhelming. Some kids are in school. The significant other wives have developed relationships, and, those things are very tough. So I want you to be able to, kind of see it from that perspective as well. That guy, that individual, those individuals, because there's a lot of people moving around. But those individuals are going to have to find, schools for their family. They're going to have to, make decisions outside of just the decisions that they'll be making inside of the organization, meaning learning new teammates, having a place to live, learning new plays. It's much bigger than that. So although people do get paid handsomely, it doesn't negate the feeling that, man, it's very emotional. So you have to be very sound, when it comes to emotional intelligence, to be able to handle that and to get over it quickly, because you could be in one city today and tomorrow be in another city trying to, because that team that just traded for you, they want you to be there. They want you to report there. So it's not that you have to say so. They may work with you a little bit to get things in order, but for the most part, they want you there so you can start working on your new goals, because they have goals and aspiration. You know what I mean? So let's talk about some of those individuals that got moved around. I know we talked about AD and Luka. and the Dallas Mavericks and the Lakers being at the top of that. But there's a lot of people got moved around. You got a list of individuals that moved around?
Yes. Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors.
No.
De'Aaron Fox joins the San Antonio Spurs. Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors. DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Marcus Smart to Washington Wizards.
Let me say this, not to cut you off. Some individuals, when they get traded, let's say, for instance, you just named Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, if I'm not mistaken, I think he won a championship with. No, he didn't. But he was a part of a winning culture, Boston Celtics. So being moved from Boston Celtics to a city like Memphis with a young team that was very competitive and that was competing in the Western Conference, on the Western side of things, and almost being like a defensive guy, coming in to bring some, grit, some hard work, also some experience as far as winning and how to be a professional. I think, that can take some air out of the building. We just talked about moving around, but then going to a place that, like Washington, haven't been winning, haven't been doing good. So, that's overwhelming. That's a bit much too for a person that's been a part of winning tradition and a culture of, expectations and living up to those expectations to the most part, right? Always, finishing with winning seasons and winning records. To go out in Washington, it's something there with the culture. So I can't imagine, being somebody in that situation that gets, sent off to a team that's, especially if you've been a part of a winning culture, gets sent off to a team that just haven't won in a while. And, that locker room, what's it like? What's it like? Are those guys truly, that far off, as far as the mindset of winning and hard work and dedication and determination and being selfless, or is just, having a bad go at it, you know what I mean? So that's always interesting to me, you know what I mean, when those individuals, go off to teams that doesn't have the reputation that some of the organizations have. And that's all across, we talking about NBA right now, but that's just all across sports sometimes for me. I always wonder, like, wow, that guy has to be a tough transition. And, I just wondered that. So y'all, let me know what you think about that, man. Guys getting shipped off from Boston. Boston has a great tradition, one of those franchises that look like they're always doing things to improve their team. And right now they have, the most NBA championships of anyone, right? They're going to a young team and maybe being energized because, man, we have a young core, a young nucleus. I'm one of the vets here. I can help, those guys with some of that tradition of, being selfless and doing the right things and being a professional, and then just getting the Band-Aid ripped off and ending up in Washington where the culture, it just is what it is. You can look it up. They haven't been successful there. They haven't been winning a lot there. So, but needless to say, who do you think get the best end of the trade, especially going into the second half of the season? My opinion is I think the Spurs get a good, point guard in DeAndre Fox. They also have, Chris Paul there, so they get to learn from a guy that's going to be a Hall of Fame. But they do have, I think, what might be the future of the NBA with Victor, and pairing him up with a speedy guard like Fox, and also having a mentor there like Chris Paul. I think that's a good recipe for the future. I think that might be something that we see down the line. Only time will tell, but that may have a lot of success later on, and that's having vision. Spurs always been a team that had vision. Yes, they have culture. Yes, they win, but they always have vision on how to develop individuals and to put pieces in there to be successful going in the future. So it'd be interesting to see, how they panned out, over a 5-year, a 3-year span, and how that whole relationship works out. I think just right off the bat, Jimmy Butler makes the Warriors a better team. I don't know, with the Everybody always talk about how the West is very competitive and there's always a lot of great teams in the West. I don't know how that will impact them on being a champion at the end of this season or even going forward. But, the grit and the grind that Jimmy Butler comes with, he's going to play both sides of the court. He has a nickname of being Playoff Butler, Playoff Jimmy. So I think he'll lift them up to like the middle of the pack when it comes to the Western Conference. I think they make the playoff. I don't know how far they go in the playoff. I think they still a couple of, forwards, power forwards or centers away from, getting back to their dominance and being able to win a championship. But I have to say, I think even though they have a lot of injuries going right now, and I know the Dallas fans are feeling a way about having a star young player shipped off to the Lakers, but I think Dallas have a pretty cool roster when it comes down to, not if they can stay healthy, right? But, Luka kind of has some problems staying on the court as well, his conditioning, his being in shape and things of that nature, his work ethic. So I think if Anthony Davis, a guy that has won recently with the Lakers, I think you pair him with, Lively, a young guy, Kyrie Irving, and the supporting cast that they have around him, I think they can make some noise. So I look for them to be a surprise in the Western. I'm not saying that they're going to be back to where they was last year, but I look for them to make some noise if they could get healthy, if they can gel together, because they just have the pieces there. And I'm very interested in how those pieces gel together. So I think that in that Western Conference and out this whole trade, I think the near future, Dallas have, the better end of it. Now, I always say that the Lakers, I think NBA has been a bit of struggling with who's going to be the next face of the NBA, right? I think LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, all those guys have did a great job. KD, but I think they've been looking for that younger person. And, we saw Ja Morant was, kind of up and coming. Being that, we also see that Anthony Edwards is a guy that they talk about a lot. But we got to be honest, let's just say this. The viewership being down, right? Not being what it was, okay? Is it time for the NBA to have an international player as the face of the league? Basketball being a world game, basketball being one of the most, universal sports language all across the world, right? Is it time to have a player from across the pond be the face of it? And I think, Luka can be that guy, especially now that he's in Los Angeles. Not to say Dallas is not a great market. I think Dallas is a pretty cool market, but I think Los Angeles, they're right behind the Boston Celtics when you talk about NBA, you talk about those historic franchises, right? They got 17 championships among themselves, but just the people that they have, produced and the team that they have produced, I think Luka can, in the future, if they put pieces around him, I think they can, do some great things in the future. When I say future, I'm talking about, again, 5-7 years, him finishing his career with the Lakers, them putting and building pieces around him to make him better. Also him going in and seeing I don't like to call my boy out, but a seasoned LeBron James and how he works and his work ethics and, putting him in the same locker room with him. I think Luka might, and the trade itself, he might be inspired to be, a better professional and have a better go at it when it comes to his conditioning and him getting himself in shape and, taking his body to the next level. I think that ultimately take his game to the next level, and he can, because he's not from here. He's from across the pond. He can take his game. That'll do wonders for him. And I think, him being a part of the Lakers, that franchise, he can be the face of the NBA doing that. So it'll be interesting to see. All this is with time, But it'll be interesting to see, how that work out going forward. And, does the Lakers get the best end of the deal? Does Dallas Mavericks get the best end of the deal? How that work? So not harping on it. Let's just see who the better team. Who you think you got going into the second half of the season, who is your favorite? You have the Western Conference. You have OKC. You have Denver. You have I don't want to skip over Cleveland Cavs, but you have Boston, the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference. You know what I mean? So Cleveland right now has the best record in all the NBA. For me, I like to say before I just crown you, and I'm talking about Cleveland and I'm talking about OKC right now. Before I crown you, I think they have a nice young team, a nice young nucleus, players that's out there performing, but you're going to have to knock off the defending champions. I can't crown you in front of the defending champions. Right now, you've been having great regular season ball. It's a preseason speed, it's a regular season speed, and it's a playoff atmosphere speed. So I think Boston Celtics in the long run is priming up to have, because they're doing great as well. Right now, they're in second place in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks, I think they're a little bit of fool's gold, right? The Knicks have a great record. They're in third place in the Eastern Conference, but they haven't beaten anybody with, a great record. They haven't beat the Cavs. They haven't beat the Celtics. And I don't think they beat the top that was in Western Conference as well. You know what I mean? So I think the Knicks is kind of pulling one over our head. I thought that would have been a trade when they got Anthony Townsend from Minnesota. I thought that would have been a trade that got them over the hump because they didn't have Randall last year in the playoffs, and they still made a lot of noise. So I thought them adding Townsend to it could have did wonders for them, but I didn't see the depth in a roster. The five on the floor, the 5-6 guys that's on the floor, they do a great job when they're out there, but I don't see the 7, the 8 guy off the bench, kind of putting it in. I feel like we riding those young guys, those starters, a little too hard, and that's been Coach Tom Thibodeau MO. And it always come back to bite him in the playoff because those guys are normally tired. So I don't know. Who you got? Who you think can be in the? Let's go to finals. Who you think can be in the finals this year? Do you see anybody knocking off the Boston Celtics and taking this? I know we still early. We just starting the second half of ball. We only a week into the second half, but who do you have? Any surprises? Let me say that. Any surprises? I'm not going to ask you for your championship team this year. Any surprises in teams showing up in the Western Conference right now? Western Conference.
Okay. It's kind of hard.
Yep. I think the Lakers are playing great ball right now. We thought that the Lakers was going to be without their rim protector in AD, which he has been the defensive player of the year, but they look like JJ got him playing a lot of good basketball, a good team defense. I saw him compete against Joker, and the things that they did to rattle Joker, a guy that can score on all levels, a guy that can pass, facilitate, can score it from three-point, can drive it, have a lot of things to his game. They kind of, did some things on defense that made him uncomfortable. And I thought, that was a good showing. Now, I don't know if they can do that in a 7-game series and making adjustments and things of that nature. But right now, the Lakers look like, a contender. And when I say a contender, only in the Western Conference. Like they can, make some noise if they knock off, a team or two here or a ball or two bounce their way. So I would say that's my surprise in the West, the Lakers, because I think they're still gelling. I think they're motivated. I see players stepping up. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare. They always got the, King James there, you know what I mean? So I think they have a chance, if they got him on the team, especially in the Western Conference, I think they have a chance. And OKC have to show me. Those guys, I think Caruso is the only guy that's been too deep in the playoff, winning the championship with the Lakers in the 2020 year. So they have to show me that they can go in those hostile environments and do what they have been doing consistent in the regular season. Last year, they had a great regular season, but hey, they got knocked off. So it'll be interesting to see if they get over that hump this year. So I'm going to say they won't surprise me to get over the hump, but they'll be proving that, hey, look, we belong here. Yes, we young. Yes, we have a lot of depth to our roster, and we play a lot of guys, but will those guys show up in crucial time in a 7-game playoff series and get it done? I need to see that. So my surprise is the Lakers in the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, I don't think it's a surprise. I think it's going to be Boston that's going to be having something to say. The same like I say with OKC. The Cavs have to show me. They're going to have to show me. They have to go there and take it. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to give it to you. A young group, right? Can you get over the hump? I don't know if they have anybody over there that's been deep into the playoff over there. So they have to show me. You know what I mean? They had their best record since LeBron this year, right? The last time they had a record like this, I forgot what year it was, but LeBron was there. So they're going to have to show me if they can knock the Boston Celtics off. If not, I think Boston still run the East right now. What about you? Anybody yet? Or are you still stuck on it?
Nope, not yet.
It's all good. Any predictions you want to make?
No, sir.
I don't want to miss over a lot of people because, I'm kind of missing over Houston. Houston playing some good ball, too, in the Western Conference. They have a young team. Coach, I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. Amunadoka, I forgot how you pronounce his name. But, I apologize respectfully, but he's, got those guys playing great defense. I love when a team play defense. They play a very feisty. They're going to compete. They're going to scrap. You know what I mean? They got Brooks over there. He's been known to be a guy that's going to be hard-nosed, going to get after your best player. He's going to defend them. He's going to get under their skin if he could. You know what I mean? A bit of, Dennis Rodman, a bit of Draymond Green, a bit of villain, right? And those guys look like they're feeding off their energy. You know what I mean? They young group. And they're getting after it. They're playing some great defense. And I think they're like in third place, if I'm not mistaken, in the Western Conference.
They are 5th right now.
5th. The Lakers in 3rd?
4th.
4th.
It's
Denver in 3rd. I'm sorry.
OKC, Memphis Grizzlies, Denver, Lakers, Houston.
Yeah, I apologize. Fact checker right there. I got you. So, yeah, that's it. I ain't going to hold you. I say this. I don't think the Minnesota Timberwolves, they was just in the Western Conference Championship game a year ago. I don't know what their whole trade was about at the end of last season, beginning of this season, but I don't think they got the best end of that trade. I think Anthony Edwards is playing good. I think Miles, LSU, what his name is? I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. LSU. Now Reeves. They gonna say you gotta know the guy's name.
His name is.
I apologize respectfully, but he's playing great. I'm always like, guys that come from LSU, I'm like, man, what happened, man? These guys, like, they're great pros. They're doing excellent in the NBA. I'm like, what happened when we had them at LSU? Why couldn't we get something out of the deal? And I don't think that has anything to do with the play. I think that's more of the leadership.
It's Naz Reid.
Naz Reid? Yeah. But so he's doing excellent. I just think that Gobert's been hurt too. That's another great defender, right? Randall has been out. So I just don't think they got the best end of that trade. And I think it's going to set them back, just to be honest. So that's my prediction. I think OKC, maybe Memphis, maybe Denver in the Western Conference. And I think Boston, Cleveland, Eastern Conference. And, we'll keep updating y'all on how things go. So I ain't going to hold you. Look, hopefully y'all enjoy this. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. Who your favorite team? Who your favorite player? Do you like what the All-Star has done to their format? How do the NBA get more of us to tune in? Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. And we out. Yeah,